passage of legislation that will stop it. I now recognize a gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Connolly. Mr. Connolly, you're recognized.
Millions of voices being ignored, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And I do find it amazing that my friends on the other side of the aisle all of a sudden become apologists for price gouging and by anyone's standards, excessive profits, and want to resist the very oversight they claim they want with respect to this administration and the ongoing COVID crisis. So I commend the chairwoman for having this hearing and for updating us on what, if any, progress has been achieved in the interim 2 years since we last had an oversight hearing on this matter. Ms. Hull, at our last hearing, and I believe at this one as well, we talked about cooperation on documentation and the fact that DOD was somewhat hampered by the fact that documentation was not provided by the vendor, in this case, TransDigm. Is that still the case, that we're not getting documents that have been requested by the contract office in DOD in order to provide some kind of analytical framework for determining a fair and reasonable price?
Yes, in our current audit, or this past audit, the contracting officers asked for cost information 26 times and only received it twice from TransDigm. So they're still encountering the similar problems.
Dr. Stein, at our last hearing, I asked you about this issue and you kind of danced around it. Why isn't TransDigm providing the documentation requested by DOD so that both parties can be happy with what it could be mutually arrived at a fair and reasonable price and a fair and reasonable return on your investment?
Congressman Connolly, I appreciate that question. I feel like I'm in a bit of double jeopardy, as you audited, we audited, the IG audited the same time period as the last audit, and we audited some of the exact same parts. Why would we expect there to be a different answer? We went back in time and audited the same.
Dr. Stein, the question is really simple. You just heard Teresa Hall say that out of 26 documentation requests, you only complied with 2 of them. Why is that? Why aren't you? Why not have full transparency and provide the information and documentation that DOD says it needs to determine a fair and reasonable price?
So of the 154 contracts that were audited, they only asked for that on 26 of them. And we thought at the time, we thought the process, since they're commercial, they've always been commercial, that you should be able to use commercial invoices. So we didn't see the point of giving our critical information out. Now,
all right.
since the audit—
wait, Mr. Dr. Stein, this is not, unfortunately, this is very time limited in my part.
I know, I understand.
So you made a conscious decision as a corporation not to comply with a documentation information request from DOD with respect to these pending contracts.
We did provide commercial qualification packages on all of the parts. So everything is commercial. Everything has now been given to the IG. At the time of contracting—
let me just interpret what I'm hearing you say. So you're taking direct issue with Teresa Hall in her assertion that you only complied with 2 of the 26 requests. You're arguing, well, actually, that's technically true, but more broadly, we did comply by allowing that commercial information available to you.
Yeah, that's correct. That is correct.
All right. Teresa Hull, this 15% threshold, I think to many people seems very arbitrary. So you looked at profit margins in the range of 8 to 22%, and you somewhat arbitrarily said 15 is the happy medium for the purpose of our examining not only cost structure, but profit that is extracted from that cost structure. Is that correct?
Yes, but the 15%, we were asked by the committee to look at the specific date ranges for specific thresholds, and we included all of the spare parts included in that time period.
All right, I get that, but I'm trying to just look at how we arrive at 15, because I do think it isn't. I'm sorry?
The 15%, we looked at the cost information that TransDigm provided. And in order to determine a fair and reasonable price, we had to compare to a benchmark. The 15% is not arbitrary. It is within the range of the aerospace companies that practice market-based pricing, which is between 8 and 22%. Also, I'd like to note that we have over 20 years of spare parts pricing reports that use benchmarks in the range of 13.3 to 18%. So that 15% falls within that range as well.
And
the gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Grossman, is recognized.
There we are.